I have to clarify something. I was in fact born in New York City, but all my people come from Clovert over in Halifax. And the only reason I was born in New York City, as it's been eloquently said at other places, was because I wanted to be near my mother when I was born. I grew up in Chatham, and I can tell you that coming through South Hill this morning and stopping at Greg Thrift on the radio station, if anybody's been to his studio, you know where it's located. It's located right on the street there. And of course, he comments on everybody that drives by, maybe even if they're driving by too fast, but knows everybody on the street. And I can tell you that that was the first time I'd ever been in the studio. I've done a lot of radio and telephone interviews with him over the years. But to be able to be with him right there on Main Street as he's talking to all of his friends and neighbors reminds me so much of the way I grew up in Chatham, Virginia. And Michael, I thank you for leading when in your introduction talking about my wife and 3 boys and where I grew up, because at the end of the day, I think everything that we're doing in Washington has everything to do with preserving what we love most about living in Southside Virginia, and that's the quality of life. That's being a part of a wonderful, loving, and prosperous community for each of our children, that they will be able to, if they want, to come back here and find work, find something that will give meaning to their life, and so that they can carry on what we think is most important, and that is having a family and having and making a living that allows us to live comfortably and appreciate all the blessings of this great country. And at the end of the day, that's what it's all about for me. And that's frankly why I ran for office, was because I was so concerned about, and continue to be concerned, like everyone in this room, about the consequences of the actions in Washington over the last 10, 20, 30, 40 years. And this is not a statement intended to be political in nature. It's not a political statement. It's not Republicans or Democrats who are at fault. It's Republicans and Democrats who have gotten us into this mess over the last, again, 10, 20, 30, 40 years. The greatest challenges that we face as a nation, I think, have to do with our financial picture. I can't say it enough. I say it everywhere I go. We have accumulated $15 trillion in debt, and we're borrowing 40 cents on every dollar that we spend. You don't have to be a banker to understand that that's unsustainable. You don't have to be an economist to understand that that's unsustainable. We all know it's unsustainable. You can't borrow 40 cents on every dollar you spend and not have consequences. Many in Washington who think that we can just continue to do that, and think because we have been blessed to be the greatest nation on earth, somehow because we are the greatest nation on earth, we can act like that without consequences. History is replete with examples of countries who have had that sort of arrogance and have ended up at the bottom. And I think if you look overseas and you see the debt crisis, and that's what it is. And in Europe right now, it is a debt crisis. And that's exactly where we're headed if we don't stop it now. Now, we have time, in my opinion. We have time to fix it. And we have time to fix it in a way that I think doesn't impose pain on especially those, especially the elderly folks who depend on Medicare, who depend on Social Security. I think we have an opportunity to fix it, but we've got to fix it now. How frustrating it is to have been entrusted with the tremendous responsibility that you all have given me as the people of the 5th District to go to Washington and really want to take this thing by the horns and be thwarted, it seems, at every turn. I was sworn in on January 5th, 2011, and at that time was very hopeful that we were going to be able to make progress based on what we heard in the last election, or based on what we said in the last election.